Okay, next up is Bryce Harper, number 7 with the Philadelphia Phillies, now 20th overall. And Harper, of course, has been the golden child of baseball. And there was a time, if you guys remember, that people claimed Harper was the greatest baseball player over Trout, and it made me furious. So some of me is a little bit happy that he's kind of just become pretty darn good. But then also it's kind of sad to see a guy who was one of the best players in baseball become a pretty darn good baseball player. But I also think the industry is a little bit down on him. Brian, why don't you tell me what you think about Bryce Harper coming into the season?
Yeah, it's another case of, I'm going to be a little harsh on our community. A little bit of an overreaction to fantasy-related endeavors than anything else, because the volatility that Harper provides kind of paints a different picture than the kind of player he is, which, although he comes about it different ways, is an extremely valuable one. This is still one of the best players in baseball, even if he's not one of the best upper echelon fantasy players. However, yeah, in fantasy, he does have that hole. He doesn't really hit for average anymore, since he hit like 490 that one year in 2015. But he always is going to get on base. So in OBP leagues, he is legitimately a different sort of player, a guy who's going to have a 380 to 400 OBP, 30 plus homers, 15 steals. And that's an extremely valuable player. In average leagues, when he's hitting 270, it's a little bit different. But again, still a great player. And I don't know if I would take him in the second round just because I haven't ever, but I wouldn't be opposed to it.
Bryce Harper's the guy that I don't know that I've ever owned on a team. He's a guy that
I haven't either.
Kind of like Dan with you with Mike Trout. I've always wanted to own him, but it just doesn't work out to where I have a pick that I'm definitely not going to take him at the top end of the first round. But I think a lot of the dumping on Bryce Harper over his career, I think a lot of it's unwarranted. I mean, his counting stats, yeah, they're not super solid. They're not like great, but I mean, they're really, really good. Like you said, he's a pretty darn good player. And I think especially, 2018, 2019, he's got 30 homer seasons. He's got the high OBP. The average has really only been in the tank just that one season, or well, maybe couple seasons he's hitting the 240s. But I think there's a lot to like here. I mean, I don't know. I guess it's just that overhyping, that we tend to do with some of these guys. But I'd be fine with him in this range of picks, but it just never really works out to where I get him. But I think there's a lot that you're getting here that you're not going to be able to get other places. And when you look at what he's been able to do as far as health, he just had one season, couple seasons there where he's had a few been nicked up here and there, but last couple seasons, 150 plus games, almost 700 plate appearances. So I don't know necessarily. I like what I'm seeing here. I don't necessarily, and he's only 28 years old. It feels like he should be like 40 at this point and about ready to retire with, as long as we've been talking about it.
One quick other note on him: out of the last 6 seasons, the only short one, he only had one that was shortened due to injury.
Yeah, it was the 2017 year.
So, I mean, this is not really an injury-prone guy anymore.
Yeah, that's a misnomer. That's what happened to Evan Longoria all those years ago. And then he just started putting up 700 plate appearances seasons. And that's certainly the case with Harper. I think he's a steal. I think people are really undervaluing him. I'd buy what the projection system say. The bat says 36 homers, 13 steals, 100 each runs and RBI, and 267, 392, 521. So I'll buy that any day. And I think that's first round worthy numbers. So I would certainly take him at 20th overall. So I don't know what the hate is about. Maybe people really are still skeptical of the batting average, but hit 260 in 2019, 268 last year. I think that's about what he can do. And with, a little bit of fortune, he could hit 290, 300 again, and then you'll have a first round. So I think it's maybe the echo chamber or group speak, community thought that's causing people to just back off a little bit. I'll take advantage every day at this price.